Hi, I'm David Brown, manager of KPAX Business Services for ACDI. One of the questions we largely get around KPAX is, how are other dealers using it and what do they think about it? What's their feedback? So I'm pleased to share this interview that we recently did with Andrew Macklin. He's the service manager at WM Imaging in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And here he is talking about KPAX in his own words.
All right, my name's Andrew Macklin. I'm with WM Imaging Solutions. We're a small office equipment company based out of the Northeast Indiana area. I'm the service manager here, but I also oversee our sales department, and I also do day-to-day interactions with customers and work with the office staff on everything else with solution implementation and projects such like KPAX that we use within the organization to better work with our customers.
Thanks, Andrew. It's great to have you on, and thanks for joining us today. So KPAX is what we're going to talk about this afternoon, and you recently made the switch to KPAX within your organization. So tell me a little about what went into the decision. Why did you make that switch?
Well, we weren't actually looking at making a switch, but you guys came up with a solution and reached out to us, and it kind of striked our interest to start looking at a solution. In doing so, we found that it was a better user interface than what we were used to, more affordable price point, and with a company that we were already doing something else with compared to the other company that had switched hands a few times. So we thought we were going to get more reliability, which we have had, better customer support, which we have had, and a smoother transition or implementation. And it took us 2 to 3 years to get to the point where we felt comfortable with the other program. It took us, 2 to 3 days of starting to work with this one to actually start working with customers and getting things going.
No, perfect. Thank you. That's great to hear. And so I know one of the parts or the pieces of why you guys made that was support. Can you tell me about what your experience has been with ACDI and the support team?
It's been great. You guys, when we started the implementation process, and as many contacts as we could handle to say, here, just reach out to one of us and we can help you. And you were responsive to all of our questions throughout that time period. As we've ran into issues with a customer, my staff here, not super tech savvy. They've been able to shoot off the emails and work with tech support and coordinate with customers and actually get everything done. So it's been really responsive, and we've been really happy.
Well, great. I know one thing about the KPAX solution is the Liberty Box. Give me kind of a sense of what your experience has been with the Liberty Box. What is it you like about that?
We like the Liberty Box because it allows us to implement the solution without having to have software on the customer's network. One of the main reasons why we can't get some of our customers moved over to a monitoring service is IT just X's it right off the bat. They say, no, I can't have any software on a computer that's foreign, that's not from us. I need white papers on all these things before I can do it. With the Liberty Box, based off it not having any true software, it more operates off the firmware, and as that pass through, we can put it through. We know where it is in the network. It's generally connected to a device. It's not interrupting their day-to-day traffic. We're able to preload it and just put it in and just be done with it. And it's definitely helped with some of our environments because we've had dropouts with equipment, or we've got multiple networks or layers of the network in there, and we weren't able to get our machines to report properly. As we put those Liberty Boxes in, it's eliminated those issues, and we've been able to see that equipment that we weren't able to see previously. It also helps us with multiple location areas that don't have the tried and true VPN or tunnel networks, so that everything's working together to where we're able to take multiple boxes and put them out there.
Nice. And as far as installing that, I know, one of the things that with Liberty is, we tout is having it be fairly user friendly from an installation standpoint. Can you validate that or refute that? How would you respond to that?
No, it is very easy to set them up. I spent, probably about 30 minutes here setting up all the boxes that we had, pre-configuring them all so that when we went on site, I plugged them into the network. I had notes of which ones I needed to configure because we didn't have the network information, or other ones that we were able to just plug in, go to the website, make sure it was live and it was scanning, and then be done with it. So it really was very intuitive, based off the instructions that are there to just walk you through, make sure that you're typing in the numbers that you need to type in if you need to type them in, and go on with your day.
Nice. And how did you decide which customers were going to get the Liberty Box versus the Windows agent?
When we went through, we looked at our MPS customers first. And then we said, okay, which one of these have we had issues with retrieving information from machines? And then the secondary thought was, which one of these do we have issues with the agent going stale? Or we have to constantly reinstall an agent, or something in that aspect. So then we went through and we said, okay, here's who we're going to do it with, because we're not seeing these machines. We want to be able to provide this service for everybody, but we already know that we have these roadblocks in these areas. The box is what got around those issues.
Oh, perfect. So one of the big things that a lot of dealers ask us is from an ROI standpoint. When you're talking about implementing a new software that's going to help you save time and money, can you speak to the impact of KPAX on your organization? How does it save you time? Does it cut costs?
Streamlines the billing process, because then once we've got the agent live, we're able to bill the same day that it's ready to go. And then generally we're seeing, the customer pay 7 days from that, or whatever their net terms are. So we're receiving a faster income from our customers. We're not having to put out as much supplies. Toner costs are high. Customers want to make sure that they've got their supplies on their machine because they've got their big run that's coming up. When we're able to use alerts and actually send supplies out as needed versus sitting there and having 300 machines with supplies and backups for each one of those out there, it cuts our cost tremendously inside of the organization. We're not having to have constant phone calls and email communications of what do you have on hand and what's your meter, and chasing people down for bill cycles for up to 30 days, and then having to process estimates and then fighting to get payments and all these other things.
And is that kind of due to more of you've got that constant connection, or just as a byproduct of having the fleet management in general?
The constant connection, because of the information that we're able to retrieve whenever we need to, plus the scans that it's doing and it's sending information, that's what's helping benefit for the toner aspect of it. The constant connection is where we can go on and that bill date and actually start processing invoicing. So that, we don't have everybody set for the 15th and the 31st of the month. We've got trickle-in bills, and every day they're invoicing somebody. So this allows so that they can go through and they're not spending their day invoicing the 10 people. They're spending 10 minutes invoicing 10 people.
What about dropped agents? I know that's typically been kind of a bane of our industry, is agents dropping off. How have you found the Liberty has helped remedy that?
So far, I haven't had any complaints in regards to anybody going stale or not being able to see any information, or any of the boxes that we've implemented being unplugged or disappearing or anything like that. Compared to before, we had a report that was pulling every week that would send to myself and our controller, that we would have to go through and see who's not reporting, who do we need to contact, what do we need to take care of, why isn't the agent live on their station, and then taking up more time from my standpoint of tracking those people down and getting the agents live again.
Is it fair to say that there's been a big improvement then as far as agents dropping off, constant connectivity to your customers?
Yeah, we've definitely had more improvement. We've had less breaks in that aspect. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to get a lawyer, objection leading the witness, but that was one thing that I wanted to touch on, especially if it was part of your experience. I wanted to make sure we got that.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier since it installs that shortcut on the desktop as well. So if we do need to restart an agent, they're able to just go to their desktop, double click on it, make sure the services are going, make sure it's communicating, and be done with it. Versus with our previous vendor, it was tedious. We had to tell them what to go search for, what to go find it, or what the icon looked like, and then how to start that. So, I mean, telling somebody to get on their computer, double click on this, make sure that this says that is a lot simpler.
Good. Yeah, we like to hear the ease of use piece is something that's impactful. And going, as far as supporting agents, and I know we talked a little bit about our technical support team. I think you've had some interactions with our technical support team. Can you, without getting too, I guess, granular as far as your previous solution provider, but how does our technical support team, compare, or how does the experience compare to what you've experienced in the past?
So the interactions that we've had, they've been where it's mainly with installing that first initial let's get something going, running into an issue. Our staff then shoots off an email to the support, and then I guess they have said it's been a pretty fast response, that they're receiving something of how can we resolve this, or can we coordinate something with the customer? Can I do a remote session with the customer so that they can resolve that issue? Before, we would have to go and find a rep who we had at that time. What's the new support channel? We were always chasing whenever it came to support. So we didn't contact support previously. Now it's a lot easier. When somebody has a question and they come to me, I can just say, can you just reach out to support? They'll take care of you. Versus me having to go and find support and then take care of it.
Oh, that's good to hear. It's good to hear. I'm going to shift gears a little bit because I think that within all your answers, and you've been very succinct and very thorough, I think we've answered just about all the general KPAX questions. And so I want to move over to talking about the experience that you had with us installing on behalf of WM Imaging for your customers. And so if I can kind of walk through that process, or actually it probably would be better coming from you, could you walk us through the process of how you engaged our team to install those agents on your customers to expedite that transition?
Oh, looking back, I wish I would have sent you more. We were a little apprehensive at first because we had been told, every time that you do a new solution, you get told it's going to be easy, or this is how the process is. Coming from a service standpoint, I'm always put off by that. I'm timid. Okay, let's see what you can do type thing. So when we went through our list, we determined kind of who's going to be problematic, who's going to take that extra 15 steps for every time that I interact with them, or who has that outside interface that's going to take that additional time from us. I mean, we're a small company. I can't sit here and chase somebody around so I can install an agent. So when I was able to go through and send it off and say, here's X amount of people, can you get in contact with them? Here's their email addresses. Here's your point of contact. It was pretty fast response. You guys immediately started email chains right off the bat to start hitting these people and say, hey, when could we set up a time? This is what we're looking at doing. We gave everybody a heads up that you would be reaching out. The timetable was really fast for when you guys were able to set up, hey, when can we do this? And some people pushed you out a month because they had projects going on. Other ones said, hey, are you available later today? And your team was able to accommodate that schedule and get that taken care of.
Awesome. So how did you, I guess you said you wish you'd sent us more, so that's good to hear. As far as the overall organization, you just spoke to it a little bit, but I wonder if you could speak to kind of how, the project management piece of that.
So we were very happy with the project, the way that it was handled from top to bottom, of overseeing the list, building all the agents within the system and then deploying those with the customers. When somebody was unresponsive, I think it was a few days, and then your team would then send out that secondary, hey, we haven't heard from you, can we get on the schedule? When we were running into some other kind of issue, we were able to kind of interject and say, hey, I think we can resolve this by doing this. And your team was like, oh, okay, let's just do that. So everything was able to move pretty cohesively throughout from top to bottom, working with your team. I know that Quincy, when she was able to come in and say, hey, this is what we've got left, it was done. So, and we just updated our sheet as we were going through and kind of touched base and said, hey, are we on the same page as who's not done yet and who needs to be done, or what time frame we have on these people and all that.
So how would you rate your experience with ACDI's KPAX Business Services team?
Well, from all the sheets that I've gotten, I've got a 10 out of 10. So from the all my team here of sending out thing and saying, hey, can you answer these questions, since you guys have dealt with them on that more up that interface of actually implementing, compared to me of saying, hey, here's this new solution that we're going to be doing. I'm getting 10s out of 10s. We're very satisfied.
That's great to hear. And I appreciate you going and getting feedback from your team. And I wondered if you could share some of the most compelling feedback that you got. Anything that we haven't asked so far. What were some of the things that your team had to say? Or
they like the user interface a lot more than what we had previously. Being able to go and seeing a snapshot of the meters in one section, plus being able to see the toner consumption right there, seeing it in that colorful chart to where they can see that percentile of where that toner's left, compared to the previous of having to go through and then look at a different flow chart and trying to figure out when things were taken care of, and then taking the meter and basically running sums and trying to figure out what the difference was for the month, instead of actually seeing the true machine meter and being able to process billing. They love the user interface. Like I said, our team isn't very tech savvy. So with this one, I was able to get them to install an agent a lot faster than I was with the previous one. And then being able to know that I can just go a couple clicks and all of a sudden I've got this to deploy for a customer and be able to go on with my job. They've been very satisfied with that.
We appreciate you joining us for this interview today. Special thank you to Andrew Macklin and his team at WM Imaging for making this a possibility. If you'd like more information about KPAX, please reach out to your ACDI representative, or you can check out our website at acd-inc.com/KPAX. You can get a lot of resources there, as well as schedule a demonstration. This video content was produced by Matthew Lentz and the ACDI marketing team. And until next time, stay safe, and may all your DCAs stay connected.